Welcome to my YouTube channel, Half Fast You Go. Today we're going to be doing something a little different. About 4 months ago I got a Pivot Shuttle SL e-bike. I do like my e-bike, a Team XTR version, so got a good Black Friday deal on it. Had to wait till this year to get it, but really happy with it. So for this video I figured I'd compare and contrast. I'm going to be 62 this year, so for some of you seniors out there, this might give you some insight as to why you want an e-bike. Or why you may not. If you're younger, an e-bike sure makes it fun, I gotta tell you. Yeah, it's a blast. Go rent one for a day and just try it out, or even 4 hours, or go do a demo. I like the lightweight version rather than the full heavy one, but that's me. You got to get one based on your riding, because there's definitely some differences. More range, more weight. Lighter one's a little bit more nimble, but you lose out on the range. So we'll stop, talk about it on the trail. There's some sections I'm going to ride today. Next week I'm doing the race across Duluth, which is about 45 miles and about 4,500 feet of climbing, give or take. So I'm debating on whether I take my e-bike or if I just take my Ibis XE. Last year I rode it on the Ibis XE. I'll link the video up at the top. I'll also link the video for the Ibis XE review. Love that bike. Great cross-country bike. Mine weighs about 26 pounds. So still trying to decide if I want to ride the e-bike or the XE. I'll probably do the XE just to compare my numbers with last year. So should be a fun day. It's a beautiful Friday, Labor Day weekend. So hey, let's get on the trails. All right. So today I ended up on the trails. This is called just me trail. This is called Chester Park, Chester Bowl. So part of the Duluth Traverse, so got to do the race across Duluth next weekend. So this has just been riding different sections of the Traverse. Some of them I haven't been down in a while, so it just kind of helps me get used to it. So here's a classic example. A little steady climb. Done it a ton of times on my regular bike. I'm doing a long ride. E-bike definitely makes short work of it. Could you argue that it's cheating? Absolutely. You could certainly argue that it's cheating. However, you know, on days when I'm tired or I'm not feeling it, e-bike is a great way to train. So like today, my goal is to keep my heart rate 120 or so. So right now I'm running 114. Just came up that climb. Helps me build endurance, doing the low heart rate training. So kind of preparing me for next weekend's long ride. Again, another climb up, as you'll see. And I'm just putting the e-bike in the lowest assist mode, which is where I ride it most of the time. Unless I'm just super tired and want to get done quick. But even in the lowest setting, you can still work up sweat. You still can get pretty beat. And the theory is you actually ride farther than you do on your normal bike, which I would agree is true. It is much easier for me to spin out 15 or 20 miles on this than it is on my regular analog bike. Analog acoustic. I like analog, we'll use analog. So works out really well. I have, what do I have, 4 bikes? Pivot Shuttle, Ibis XE, Reeb Squeeb, and then my Reeb Fat Bike. I have an old Schwinn homegrown team version from the 90s, but that doesn't count. So yeah, quick work of that little trail uphill. And then we're back over here for another climb up some pavement. Again, I'm gonna slow go it. This can be a grind on an analog bike, but I could put it in turbo or the middle mode and certainly fly up it quicker. But keeping my heart rate around 114 right at the moment, 115, that's perfect. All right, we'll catch up. All right, slow, steady climb up. Perfect e-bike territory. The funny thing is, if you put it in a little higher modes, you can actually almost rail some of those corners going up, which in itself is pretty cool. And it brings a little different dimension to the riding. Some of the things that you would moan and groan about going up before, actually a little pretty cool. For the age thing, like I said, as old as I am, it's nice to have the assist when I think I need it. You can certainly rely on it, and I think there's probably a lot of people who do. I mean, if you think turbo's there to be used, that's okay. That's what you want. I don't want to rely on turbo. You know, the full power mode or the boost mode even. But I know guys who do. That's okay. You do you. I ride mainly for my health. Try and stay in a little bit of a shape. Dropped a few pounds. And just kind of going up those hills, those little inclines is super sweet on an e-bike. Some people just love climbing. I don't mind it. Do I just live to climb? No. It doesn't bother me, but I certainly prefer going fast downhill. Even at 61. Last weekend I took a pretty good fall, cracked my helmet, had a new helmet, maybe a mild concussion and some pretty nasty bruises. Slid out on a wet bridge that was a little mossy on the outer fringe, and my tire just didn't keep grip. Luckily I was okay. The bike was even okay, which is even better. So here you go. E-bike makes short work of that. And then you can certainly do it on a cross-country bike or my enduro bike with a little bit more energy expenditure. So like next weekend when we do the race across Duluth, being 61, I'm going to pace myself. There'll be a lot of young guys that'll finish it in a couple hours. Doing 45 miles, and they'll probably do it in 3 hours or in change. Around 3 hours, I don't know. But that will not be me. I don't think. Unless I take my e-bike, which my e-bike will certainly level that playing field. Another thing to think about when you're riding is who you're riding with. If you're riding with all friends who have e-bikes, it's a no-brainer. It's easy. You all ride together. I ride with no one else that has an e-bike. So one friend who's out of states, we don't ride together too often, but when nobody else has an e-bike, they tend to not like it too much when you're not breaking a sweat. So even now, as I'm talking, my heart rate's averaging about 100. So on some of these trails, even though I'm in the lowest assist, I'm just not working up a lot of expending a lot of energy. I have shut it off before on some of this level ground and stuff like this. I've just turned it off and pedal, and it's no problem. I don't mind it. I've had e-bike fanatics say, "What, are you crazy? You got power, use it." Again, personal preference. All right, again, part of the Duluth Traverse. So this is going to take us across what we call Central Entrance and up by the old Duluth Central High School towards the antenna farm. So, fun section. I think I set a PR on it last week on my regular bike. So, I think actually for me, being 61, doing the heart rate training on the e-bike, or even my regular bike, depending upon what I keep my heart rate at, has really helped my endurance and keep the heart rate a little bit lower.
So it seems to me that it's definitely helped my riding. The e-bike has been good. Again, arguably, there are certainly people who will argue that, as some people say, it's a moped with an electric motor. Yeah, that's an opinion, absolutely, and you're entitled to it. Like it or not, it's pretty damn fun. Definitely, as you've heard me say, takes the suck out of some of these hills. A little bit of water on the trails here. We did have some rain, but everything is open. And again, a little climb up. Still got it in low. I still got a pedal. Still keeping my heart rate at about 109, 110. Perfect. I like to keep it between 100 and 125 when I'm doing this kind of ride. And of course, you'll get some fluctuations over and under. If I'm stopping to grab some water, it's going to drop. And if I do push up something a little harder, it might go up as well. So stuff like this, plus old guys, this really makes it nice because I can drop it down a gear, still got a little bit of assist, and I can pedal right up. I've done that, like I said, a ton of times on my analog bike, but I've got a titanium hip. I'm a heart attack survivor. I need a shoulder replacement. So, hey, makes life a little easier for an old bastard like me, right? So, I'm not complaining. People can complain all they want about e-bikes, but I think it keeps a lot more people riding. Always going to have haters. One other thing I can tell you about the e-bike that I like, as we get older, we slow down, we lose muscle mass. Obviously, nutrition is probably the number one thing. If you ask a coach, or some of the people who've coached me. Number two, strength training. The older you get, the more you need to do strength training. Go to the gym several times a week. Couple different regimens. I like eMTB Fit. I like the barbell prescription. Both good programs. I've done them both. Currently following eMTB Fit for a while. I switch it up. So I think strength training is a key piece because if you fall, what really supports your muscles or your joints are your muscles. I always tell you to go talk to your medical professional because I am not one, but I certainly have had enough procedures done and talked to enough. And my ortho, who did my hip replacement, said he would never ride a bike like I do. But he also said keep doing what I'm doing. So some of this antenna farm trail can be a little chunky. I don't remember which trail goes where here, but so some of it can be a little chunky, as you can see. There's some rocks in here, and you know, an e-bike can certainly help you power up some of this stuff. Young guys, fly up it, knock yourselves out. Old guys, we might need a little assistance. Or maybe not. I know some guys that they're old that can hold their own pretty darn well. So it all depends upon what you feel your abilities are and your strength. And like I said, I'm going to probably need a shoulder replacement here pretty soon, and it friggin' hurts even riding this chunk. I can feel the bone on bone in there, and probably good possibility I'll be getting a new shoulder this winter. It's gonna suck, but it's gotten to a point where it's not so easy to ride my bike anymore. All right, classic example, pedaling up here. I have cleaned this on my analog bike, but damn is it harder. There you go. And I could feel each pedal crank in my shoulder too. Should you get an e-bike? Well, I guess that depends upon you, your budget. I wouldn't want it as my only bike. There's a lot of guys who do. It's not something I would want. I like my analog bikes. I ride every one of my bikes. I always jokingly tell my wife it's like different shoes, right? You have different shoes for different purposes. Same thing with bikes. Different bikes for different purposes. Can you absolutely ride one bike on everything? Yeah, you can. I used to ride nothing but a fat bike. A Lens Fadillac. Love that bike. See, a lot of this, I mean, there's nothing difficult about this. It's just some of it's some chunk to contend with, and thrown in with some uphills in here, and you gotta just pedal up it. And if you have the stamina and the strength, hey, good for you. This same trail here I have done numerous times on my analog bike. Cleaned it, can ride up it, no problem. And it is doable for sure. It's not that tough. You just gotta have the strength and technique. All right, so this is a trail called Observation Hill. So we have to climb up it. Starts out pretty nice, not too shabby. Slowly increases its angle. And I could certainly think of 3 reasons to shift my speed, mainly low, medium, and high. Those are my 3 reasons. Which one do I want? So my heart rate's at 130. If I wanted to take it back a little bit, I would drop my power up. But in this case, I'm just gonna go to a bigger chain ring and slow my tempo up. So I'll pick my way up. Like I said, I've cleaned this many a time on my analog. Heart rate sitting about 150, higher than I like for what I'm trying to do today. So I'll slow her down and pedal a little easier. Dropping already. One little last bit of hill here. Down to 144. Still got to pedal pretty good to get up there. It's down to 143, went back up. But that's the top of the hill. Now I don't ride on the road. So when I talk e-bikes, I'm specifically talking an eMTB. The other thing I will tell you is, I did not make this video to tell you what kind of e-bike you should get. There's tons of them, and that's a really personal decision. I demoed some, I demoed the Specializes, I demoed a few other ones. Looked at the Zaris back at the time, and I settled on a Pivot Shuttle. I liked it. I compared the numbers. Oops, some uphill traffic. So as I was saying, I did not create this video to tell you what kind of bike you should buy. You need to figure that out. There's tons of videos on different types of bikes. There's shootouts. There's all kinds of stuff to look at. And as a senior, well, I'd say fit is probably one of the most important things, right? Which is why I bought a Pivot Shuttle, because the setup is closest to every one of my other bikes as far as reach and stack. And if you're not familiar with those, then you should go to a bike shop that can help you get that set up right. Because most bikes you can make to fit you, but some bikes it's more of a stretch. Some just feel bigger. Some brands you may be on a medium, some brands you may be on a small, some brands you may be on a large. A good bike fitter or a good shop will help you figure that out. Another example, e-bike friendly, just climbing over through some of this chunk, right? Tired, you want to have a good hard ride the day before and you want to just still get out for a nice ride, hop on the e-bike. It's exactly what I love it for. All right, another thing, so for seniors, I also have a Garmin GPS, so I use that to track my heart rate when I'm riding. I'm wearing a Garmin chest strap, but I also am a Whoop user, so Whoop strap monitors my heart 24/7, gives me strain, gives me recoveries, gives me sleep, respiration rates, all that fun stuff to kind of give me a general overall health picture. Is it anything the end all be all? No, it's all gadgetry, electronics. So some of you have to take with a grain of salt, but I feel it gives me good data. And you have to decide if you're up for that. So I did ride a couple of the full power e-bikes. I just didn't enjoy them, that's me. They just felt, I don't know, clunky. Definitely powerful. Certainly get the range out of them. And if that's what your game is, then hey, go for it. But my SL, Pivot Shuttle SL here weighs, I think it was like 39 and change, 39 pounds with change. And a lot of the SLs are coming down, or a lot of the other full-size bikes are coming down in weight now, so that may be a consideration for you to get a bigger battery. This has the Fazua motor in it. Fazua has supposedly been coming out with a range extender to add an extra 250 watts. That's been on the works for a couple years now, and we still haven't seen it. I don't know if I'd get it. I have yet to run out of battery in my riding, but I'm not doing 50-mile rides. If that's your game, then go for it. You probably want a bigger bike if you live out west and you do a lot of climbing, 4,000 foot climbs, and you're probably going to want the full power one. Where I'm at, I don't have that. Most of the time, if I'm riding, I climb about 100 feet every mile. So if I'm riding a 20-mile ride, I'm climbing 2,000 feet. And you got a nice little rack on you. All right, here I come. Move it. All right, so this trail is called Skyline. 17 switchbacks, all uphill. So does make it fun. It certainly makes it nice for an e-bike. I've climbed it many times on my analog bike, and I will do so again next weekend. But for today, we're going to just plunk uphill, slow and steady on the e-bike. There's some nice trails that feed into this. But as you can see, there's one that comes down the rocks there. That's always fun. First switchback out of the way. Again, this trail is certainly much more fun coming down, but the climb is not that bad. As you can see, it's just kind of slow, but lots of switchbacks to get you up the hill. There you go. The big rock is usually the telltale that I'm reaching the top. Now we're in the Piedmont. We've climbed Skyline and decide just how far I want to go. Fun trails. Do I need an e-bike? Absolutely not. Does it make it easier getting speed up? You betcha. All right, still on an e-bike, 20 miles in. So that's the beauty of it. Still getting a workout, 20 miles in, kept the heart rate pretty decent. And yeah, fun riding. So I'll probably get back and have about 28 in and something like that. And we'll sum it all up then. All right, good ride today. Got almost 28 miles in on the Pivot Shuttle SL. So, you know, whatever you want to ride is just mainly, especially as a senior, get out and ride. That's the main thing. Whether it's an e-bike or whether it's a e-mountain bike, whether it's a commuter bike, whether it's a freaking beach cruiser. Biggest thing is, like my orthopedic said, is you just got to keep moving. You just got to keep going. As hard as it is. Again, I use the shuttle as a kind of a training tool. So if I've had a rough week, I'm tired, but I still want to go ride, I will use the shuttle and I will use some power on it. Today I kept it, I would say 95% of the time in the low power. Towards the end I boosted it up a little bit on some of the hills, but in the second to lowest or the mid-range, and dropped her back down. So, you know, whatever you get, I would tell you to test ride them. There's a lot of well, I don't know if I'd buy a used e-bike, used e-mountain bike, just because you know, you want the warranty, in my opinion, but that's me. The Fazua motors, they all, you know, if you read online, they're all going to say they have issues, because everybody that has issues complains about them. But I have, knock on wood, I haven't had any issues with mine. I know a lot of people that have not had issues. So, bottom line, get outside. So, if you would, thanks for watching. Appreciate you riding along. Maybe I gave you insight. I hope so. But if not, well, go watch some other videos. Make your own decision. If you would, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. But most importantly, as always, get outside. Thanks for watching.